we'll get rocking and rolling. I know we start off just about every video the same way, but we're live. So here we are, folks. Episode 29 of Boating Tips Live. I don't even know if that is the correct number, but we're going to say it confidently. So thank you very much for joining us at home, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. Bring all your questions down below. We will get to as many of them as we can. And beside me today is my amigo and partner in crime, Captain Keith Lake from Marine Max in Clearwater.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And we have a special guest today. We have Tammy Worthing from Marine Max Vacations, more specifically our Abacos Bahamas fleet over there. So thanks for joining us, Tammy.
Yep, thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone.
And Keith, this is something that I didn't know, but we're spoiled. We're in the land of the endless summer in Florida. But believe it or not, Tammy, where are you joining us from today?
Yes, so I am actually in the Midwest where it is a balmy, I think 20, 30 degrees today.
Yikes.
So I'm super jealous. So it's fun to be talking about the islands for sure.
No doubt. So Nick and I are spoiled here. We were kind of complaining last week about a cold front came through, and just like clockwork, just a couple hours ago, it started raining, and now the sun's out. But we're probably down into the 60s right now.
Yeah, that's cold for Florida. Everyone's got their sweaters pulled out.
And I swear, I've spent time up in New England too. I've been to places where it's cold. When it dips below 60 in Florida, I think that it feels colder than 60 anywhere else. I don't know.
I think it's just so wet.
Yeah.
The humidity makes it feel colder, I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Brian. I see Brian Drapp just got on here.
Oh yeah, Brian usually has some good questions. So thanks for joining us, Brian. A Boating Tips Live vet.
Yep.
So I guess while these questions pour in here, you guys can answer them, or you guys can ask them, whether it's on Facebook right here at Marine Max Leisure Boating, Instagram, Marine Max Online, and of course you can find us on YouTube at Marine Max, simple enough. And you can actually go back and stream these videos later on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming sites. So a lot of people are busy. You can't catch them while we're live, but you can go back and watch them, whether you're riding a bike at the gym or you're on your way home or to and from work. You can get educated to the world of boats.
You're stuck in traffic on the way home, and this podcast, you can go back and listen to it and pretend like you're in the Bahamas there. Hey, Jody, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Jody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
So, looks like we got a good question right off the bat for Tammy. We have Jody asking us, where is the best place in the British Virgin Islands to visit?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, I mean, the BVI, there's so many beautiful spots to enjoy. There's nature, there's great swimming, snorkeling, fun beach bars, restaurants, of course, the famous Painkiller. I would say, me personally, I absolutely love the Bass. It is just this really amazing geological place to go and see, like beautiful boulders. Once you see it in person, you will absolutely see it. All the travel magazines, you'll be able to recognize it. I just feel like it's a beautiful place to go and see. You can hike through it. It's really amazing. That's probably my favorite spot in the BVI, are the Bass.
All right, so speaking of the BVIs, we've also now just opened up a new place, kind of like a second reopening in the Bahamas, and that's kind of like what you're focused on, right?
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, today we're going to talk about the new Bahamas base. Actually, Brian asks when are charters going to be able to rent, and they're available now. We actually launched the new base December 1. We've partnered with Navigare Yachting, who will be basically managing the charters, running the charters for us, but you'll be booking those through us, and we'll be taking care of you.
So where's that base at?
Yeah, so it's at the Conch Inn Marina, which is on Marsh Harbor in the Abacos, Bahamas.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so believe we're building a new office right now. We're in the process of doing that, building a new office that we'll be running our charters out of.
So talking about the Bahamas really quick, we'll kind of jump into that, how it's different from the BVIs. Everybody, of course, knows about the Marine Max Vacation Suite over in Tortola with all the Aquila power catamarans and stuff over there. And is your fleet over in the Bahamas? Are they the same as that? Is it a little bit of a different experience? What makes the Bahamas different than the BVIs from a Marine Max Vacation standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's all about, getting on a boat, cruising the islands with your friends and family, stopping at different anchorages each day, each night, swimming, snorkeling, just really exploring the land. So, I mean, the difference is just the Bahamas has something different and unique cultural food, compared to the BVI, which is, I'd say equally as beautiful, but just, what you're going to see and do is just going to be, just a little bit different. But we have the Aquila Power Cats at both locations. Initially in the Bahamas, we're going to have the 2-cabin 36-foot and the 3-cabin 44-foot initially. I mean, hopefully we'll maybe get some of the larger boats, but at least starting off, we'll have those 2 size boats to rent, and they're available to rent right now. So,
all right. So speaking about available to rent or charter out, from step A to step Z. So how do somebody's listening to this? How do they get hold of you? What's the process? How do they get supplies on the boat and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, you can pick up the phone, give us a call. And I'm sure you guys can post that information on actually where to call, or you can go to the website marinemaxvacations.com and fill out information online. There's a team of us, charter consultants, which that's what I am, and then I've got other colleagues that are there to take care of you as well. I mean, basically, you give us a call. Some people really have an idea of dates and when they want to go. If you're not that far along in the process, we'll kind of walk you through it, kind of talk about, when is a good time to go, what boat is best for you. And then from there, we send you information. What's great about Marine Max is that you work with your charter consultant from day one, and then we're going to walk you all the way through the process until the day you arrive, and then even be there for you, while you're out on the water, answer any questions. So we're there for the entire process to help you do all of that. So, I mean, you got to find your friends and family, choose some dates. We'll figure out what boat is best for you. You reserve your boat, and then from there, we talk about any kind of water toys, any kind of provisioning. So for Bahamas location, you actually do have to go in and shop at it's Maxwell's Supermarket. It's about 10 minutes from the base. Still super easy to do, but we just not a delivery service there yet. So for the, in the BVI, you have your provisions delivered, you can, but here you'll do your own shopping. So you can do that, you can, on your way in, you can stop at the market, or, go settle in, drop your luggage, and then, maybe have half of your party head back and provision the boat. And then essentially you'll be taking off the next morning. So you'll have time to do that.
Very cool.
So for an experience like this, it's not like you're chartering a boat, and we got a lot of great questions over here, like you would normally charter a boat. Like, for instance, one that I really like here, Michael Lucas asked, can I captain the boat myself, or can I hire a captain? Before we answer that, I can imagine how intimidating it must be from the outside looking in. You're not a boater. Big, beautiful power catamarans. It's probably a little bit different than just operating a rowboat on a pond, as we know. And how does that work out, really, as far as for somebody that's not the most experienced boater to still be able to enjoy their vacation and not feel overburdened?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Michael. So we essentially have 2 options. One is called bareboat chartering, and that's where you drive the boat yourself. no formal license, no any kind of certifications are needed. We're really looking for that time on the water experience boating. You've owned or operated something of a similar size to what you actually want to charter. That's really what we're looking at. You fill out a resume, we get that approved, and get that step knocked out. If you're, newer to boating, not comfortable with the location initially, you can hire a captain, and we can help set that up. You can have, obviously, you can have a captain come for the entire trip, take you around, then you get to kick back and relax. So it's not a bad option.
What type of orientation is in place to, kind of get you familiarized with the boat?
Yeah, so we're going to spend, usually it can take, up to a couple of hours. We will go through the boat with you, go through all the systems, show you where the engine is, the generator, and then allow you to, answer any questions that you may have before you head out. So we take as much time as needed, but, usually I have people budget about 2 hours for that, so that once you leave, the dock, you're good to go.
So like down in the BVIs, you've got mooring balls around through the islands. So how does it work in the Bahamas? You doing the same thing? Or are you actually going into marinas or?
Yeah, so in the Bahamas, basically the same options. Depending on where you are, there are some really beautiful resorts and marinas that you can pull into. There are mooring balls there. It's, some of them are first come, first serve. Some you have to rent in advance. But usually, and we'll have a cruising guide on the boat, so we'll help kind of, depending on where you are, we'll kind of guide you on what that process is. And then for the Bahamas, you can also drop an anchor, depending on what location you're in. We'll have all the equipment needed to, to drop an anchor if that's the option you choose to do. So basically, yeah, 3 options, just kind of depending on where you are and, what kind of experience you want to have for the night.
Awesome. Well, looks like we have Brian over here asking a slew of exceptional questions.
Yeah.
Brian asks great questions every single week. And the funny thing is, literally every single one of these questions are stuff that we were going to address anyways. So, Brian, great minds think alike. You know that. I guess we'll just kind of dive right in. One of them, which is my favorite one, we have Brian asking, is the 54 available to charter? The 54 Aquila Power Catamaran, all new model. Tammy, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we certainly hope we'll have a 54, coming into the fleet for the Bahamas. Right now, they're going to BVI first, but it's a brand new, going to be a game-changing boat. It's, absolutely a gorgeous option, and I think it will be extremely popular in the Bahamas. So hopefully sooner than later we'll have one in the 54 in the Bahamas.
And the 54 is going to step it up a little bit also. I mean, it might even, I'd almost compare it to that 48 where we're going to have 4 or even 5 stateroom layouts there. So you're going to be able to offer a completely different type of vacation with those larger boats. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the 54 is going to, 5 guests plus, up to 12 if you convert the salon. So it's going to be, a great option. So just need someone to buy one into the Charter Ownership Program. Brian?
There you go.
Yeah.
The 54 and the 70 are actually the first ones are on a ship right now on their way to St. Petersburg. So we're expecting to see them. Realistically, you'll probably be able to view the boats in February. And I mean, when I say the debut, that is not the United States debut. That is not the Florida debut. That is not the Marine Max debut. That is literally your chance to get on one and see it before anybody in the world. And there's going to be a little bit of opportunity there coming up. Whether you're looking to charter one, buy one, put one in Charter Yacht Ownership, there's going to be some great opportunity there. And we're all excited. I know in the BVIs, they're all chomping at the bits to get them in their fleet. And I say it's a matter of time before you guys get your hands on one.
Yeah. Good.
So kind of sticking with Brian, he asked, how much better will it be than taking a cruise on a ship and benefits? So, I mean, heck, a cruise ship, you're with 5,000, 6,000 of your other best friends. instead of getting on one of these Aquilas and it's just your immediate family or friends. I mean, you know, it's night and day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say more so today than ever. You know, you're on your private boat with your friends and family. You decide where you go, when you go. So if you fall in love with a destination, you can stay there for 2 nights and just explore. It's to me, there's just absolutely no comparison. You know, you're in charge. You get to, you know, enjoy the islands on your terms. You know, without the crowds, without the hassles. You can, you know, cook dinner, have sunset dinners every night. So it's, you know, I think, you know, there's no comparison. And I mean, price wise, you know, really the cost per person is, you know, it can be very similar cost wise compared to like an ocean cruise to, you know, having a private yacht and, you know, cruising the islands.
Yeah, for sure. Especially right now, you know, with everything going on, I think that everybody wants to get away, but everything looks different now. It really does. And I can guarantee you on a cruise ship with hundreds of other people, that's going to look very, very different than you might have remembered it a couple of years ago. Whereas you're with your family, you're with your loved ones, you guys are all in your close little circle there on a group. It's probably going to look pretty similar to it did a couple of years ago. However, Brian brings up another good point. Are there any special social distancing in place? What's being done differently right now with, you know, obviously the COVID pandemic going on? What are you guys doing to, you know, just switch things up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, yeah, the Bahamas has their own protocols in place. So obviously we do follow those. As with everything kind of going on our lives today, it does change. So we do have to stay on top of that. Your charter consultant can give you guidance on that too, to stay on top of kind of what's current. You know, basically a negative test. But once you get to the Bahamas, you essentially can move freely about the country. They do require an additional negative test around, I think, day 5 right now. You have to do a health visa. So, but for the most part, you can really move freely about in the Abacos. And then, of course, our boats, we're following all of the safety guidelines, protocols for keeping the boats clean in between guests and just, you know, ensuring that we keep not only our guests, but our staff healthy and safe as well.
Yeah, I think a big thing with vacationing right now, and a lot of vacations are getting canceled and stuff because everybody's scared. But I think that, I mean, come on. I mean, if you're going to do a vacation, you might as well do it right. You might as well do it. I think that this is the safest way to do it. I mean, why not, right? This is what it's all about. This is what that sense of normalcy is, and just forget about all that. Forget about all that nonsense, and you know, life is normal on a boat. Vacations are normal on a boat.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I mean, chartering. I mean, kind of go back to the cruise question too, or you know, I mean, boating is like the ultimate social distancing. So it's, you know, you can certainly stay in your bubble if you want to. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great.
I mean, there's some expert advice, right? I mean, how long have you been doing this, Tammy?
Yeah, I've been doing this since, well, more than 10 years. So with MarineMax, I started in 2012. So I've been around with MarineMax 8 years. And then before that, I was in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle doing corporate charters. So I've been around, and certainly with MarineMax, I've been here since the beginning. So.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yep. Yeah, it's great to be here. Let's see. Let's see. Jody had asked, are charters available now in the Bahamas? And yes, they are. December 1, we started chartering, and we'll have 2 cabin 36 and the 3 cabin 44. And actually, just below Jody's question, I see Michael has asked about the 44. So yes, it has 3 staterooms. Actually, it has a master suite that spans the beam of the boat, and then 2 queen cabins. So sleeps 6 comfortably. If you have a captain on these boats, he does require one of the cabins. So that's something to keep in mind if you needed if you need a captain to come along with you.
That's
Can
a
you
good
get a
question, Michael.
captain can you get a captain to move you around from place to place and then like get off the boat in the evening and then hop back on like the next morning or something like that?
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry, Captain Key.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, like, if you wanted to hire a captain, but maybe you don't want him on the boat 24/7, right? He can get you from point A to point B. Is there any way that then the captain can leave you alone and then, comes back at 10 o'clock the next morning and takes you to the next place?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a difficult question, only because it depends. Like if you have a boater or you have a guest that has some boating experience, we may be able to do that. But usually, if there's an emergency in the middle of the night, you almost want to have your captain on board to keep you safe.
Yeah.
But there are some instances where people have boating experience, but they want the captain on board. So, it is something that we can, we can discuss to kind of see what the situation is. But usually if you hire a captain, you kind of want them there to, take care of everything for you.
Does that make the price go up quite a bit when you hire a captain, or is it pretty reasonable? I mean, what is your opinion? I mean, do you think it's worth it without really any boating experience to just say, hey, forget it, just hire the captain?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, the boats themselves are very easy to maneuver. We'll go through that orientation process. So, for a lot of guests, they love being able to take the boat out themselves. But yeah, I mean, I think having a captain on board is a great option as well, because a lot of times they know like secret spots and they'll take you. And then you really just get to kick back and you don't have to worry about, anything. So, I mean, I think it's a great option too. Having the captain on board. Yeah. And I mean, the captain I think it's $253 in the Bahamas per day. So that's really, I mean, to have someone, take care of your entire trip, for you. It's really, it's not a huge cost.
That's cheap. That's cheap. Plus you got the local knowledge, like you said. It's like this guy. All right, let's get out of here. Come on, I'm gonna go shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, having a captain is a great option too.
Sounds worth it. Sounds worth it to me. Got some questions coming in over here on the side. Got Brian with another good question. Could you hire just a chef? Ooh, good question, Brian. Always thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hire a captain and a chef, or just a chef, or just a captain. So yeah, if you want someone,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the chef is it's about the same cost as having a cabin. I think it's just a little bit less per day. They do need a cabin, so that's always something to kind of keep in mind. But yeah, if you want to wake up, someone's making your breakfast, bringing making snacks, just taking really good care of you in that way. Absolutely, we can set that up as well.
Mimosas and cheese, right?
Yeah. Great way to wake up.
Got a lot of other questions coming into the side here. Brian has another one down there, but first we'll get to some of the other ones. Brian, sorry. Got Sydney says, I missed the beginning. Did you mention where do I fly and where do I start to charter in the Bahamas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Question,
so
Cindy.
Yeah, that's a great question, Cindy. Thank you for asking it. And we didn't address it earlier. So so you can actually fly right into Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas. That airport code is MHH. I think Bahamas Air, American, Silver, they all fly into there. There's a couple of other carriers as well. Your charter consultant can also give you some more information about flights. But yeah, very easy to get into Marsh Harbor. And then once you land, we're about 10 minutes from the airport. So super easy to get to.
It looks like we had a YouTube question also asking where are the departure points in the Bahamas for these charters. By the way, live feed keeps breaking up. Sorry if the internet's being a little difficult today, guys, but if you can hear us just fine, drop it down in the comments. Just make sure everybody can see us. I don't know. It looks pretty good to me. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. I don't know. But Speaking about the boats, to get back to Bob's question, where are these boats coming and going from, Tammy?
Yeah, so in the Bahamas, you will pick up your boat at our base, which is the Concan Marina there in Marsh Harbor. So you'll pick up your boat there, and then that's also where you'll bring it back at the end of your trip. And then in between that time, you really get to go well, there are limits. We are in the Abacos, but essentially you get to go anywhere in the Abacos that you want. We have suggested itineraries, so it will help you kind of come up with a game plan for your trip, which I do recommend doing, some pre-planning. You certainly don't have to, but just kind of you have some idea where you're going to go. And again, we can send you that information on the suggested itineraries. But, again, keep in mind, like, you get to go, where you want, when you want. So if you fall in love with a resort and you want to stay there for a couple of days, you can certainly do that.
It's awesome. So you got a lot more freedom than, when somebody's kind of laying it all out for you, saying do this, this, and that. And that's one of the things that I probably dislike most about cruises. On these normal cruises, you go somewhere, you're having fun. Next thing you know, the ship's leaving you there at the port because you had a little bit too much fun.
Yep, exactly.
Or is that just me?
Yeah. That's what's nice about having your own boat, is that, it does not leave the dock unless you are not ready for it to. So that's
not on anybody's schedule except your own. It's your time, and you're going to do with what you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Actually, Brian has some really great questions. He asked, is everything provided? Do I need to bring food and beverages? And do you have a store available? So the boat itself comes fully equipped. So everything you'll need for living on board. So fully equipped galley. We'll have blenders. There's a cooktop. There's a barbecue grill. There's refrigeration, lots of storage for all your food. All your linens, bath and beach towels, all of that stuff is there for you. So basically you just bring your swimsuits, flip-flops, and suntan lotion, and then come on aboard. As far as provisions, I had mentioned that you do have to go to Maxwell's Supermarket. It's just about 10 minutes from the base. You just jump in a cab, run over there and grab your provisions to stock your boat before heading out.
Looks like we had Jody there ask, any COVID testings for the Bahamas required?
Yeah. And again, it's always great, or always best, always go to the government website for that information. Just make sure it, hasn't changed before you head down. But right now, yes, you have to have a negative test 5 days before arrival. Once you get that negative test, you get a health visa from them. And then on I think it's day 5, you do have to you do have to take another test, and it has to be negative. But pretty much from the time you land, you can, move freely about. I think masks are required in some locations. Obviously, if you're in the store, that type of stuff, practicing social distance, just like we are here at home as well.
So how about dogs and cats? People got their pets. Or is it pet friendly? Are they allowed to bring their dogs over?
Yeah, I wish we could, because I would certainly bring my babies, but right. Yeah. Unfortunately, no pets on board on the charter boats. So unfortunately, plus bringing your pet into a foreign country can sometimes be quite a process. So right. They'll just have to stay home and hold down the fort.
Hey, what about tipping, Tammy? I know that's kind of something that is a lot of people will try to dance around with. When is it appropriate to tip on a charter? Who do you tip? I mean, how much? I mean, I think that a lot of folks just really don't know that, on a situational basis.
Yeah. So usually the industry standard for a crude all-inclusive trip is usually 10 to 20% of your total charter cost. That's of course at your discretion, but that's kind of the range, the industry standard. If you just hire a captain, usually it's 10 to 15% of your boat cost. And then other than that, you obviously just tip other people, who help you on the islands, that type of stuff. Really.
So kind of ballparking, let's say it's a 44 and you're going to go for a week. Kind of, I know there's variables and stuff like that on what all they're going to do, but what's a basic cost?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the Bahamas, basically I came up with a range. It's 10.6 to about 13.4 for the 44. That's for 7 nights on the water. Basically the range is peak season to off-peak season. So the 10.6 is around August, and then the higher number is spring break, Christmas, New Year's time. And that's essentially the range. And we, usually as your charter consultant, we'll talk with you about different dates and pricing. It ranges between there depending on when you go. The 36, 5,400 to 6,900. Again, that off-peak number is that lower number. Peak season is that higher number. So, and then we have a 5-night minimum. So you can go less than the 7 nights, but 5 is typically the minimum for the Bahamas.
And you talked about off season there a little bit, Tammy. What is the best time to charter a boat in the Bahamas? Is there a noticeable difference between the winter and the summer there? I don't think you guys are really getting snow, but what's that look like, and what's more popular and why?
Yeah, so I would say, Christmas, New Year's is always a really popular time to go. I would say probably mid-March through probably like June are probably kind of the best times to go. The weather is similar to Florida, so how you're a little bit cooler today. Mm-hmm. So the weather is going to be similar in the Bahamas. So it's certainly not a bad time to go. But you may just have to bring a couple of windbreakers for maybe chartering kind of that December, January time. But yeah, I mean, basically February, March, April, May, June, those are good times. And then again, unless if you'd like really, really hot weather, of course, June, July, August is a good time to go too.
How hot is it there in the summertime? I mean, we're used to the heat here. I'm not over there to Keith. We're used to the heat here in Florida, and it's pretty darn hot.
Yeah.
Is it gets pretty hot over there?
Yeah. So, I mean, historically, August tends to be the warmest month. I think highs of about 88. And then the coolest month is January, and it's high of, I think, 77 in January, but it can drop to 66 in January. So, again, it can, that's an average low. So, obviously it can be warmer stuff too, but you're in the islands. So
yeah. Let's see. Got some other questions here on the text hotline. We've got, for those that need to stay connected while disconnecting, how does the internet work when you're on the boat?
Yeah, so unfortunately in the Bahamas, we do not have dedicated Wi-Fi on the boats like we do on the BVI. But what most guests will do is just add an international phone plan to your cell phone. These days you can use that for Wi-Fi, and just, be sure to call your carrier. And then when you go ashore, so a lot of the marinas, resorts, restaurants will have Wi-Fi. Usually it's free. You just connect, and get connected while you're there at the when you're ashore, or use your cell phone.
Oh, that solves that, I guess.
Yeah. Plus, we need to be disconnected anyway, right?
You do. As hard as it is to do.
Yeah, I know, but but yeah, when I was in the Abacos back June of 2019, and I was able to use my phone, no problem.
So Jody's got a question there. It says, do we have any help for first timers? So I think we
Yeah,
talked about the orientation process a little bit earlier, but let's go through that again.
yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Jody. Yeah, so what I mentioned is that your charter consultant is someone that will work with you from the moment we start the conversation, when you want to go, what boat's going to work best. And then from that moment all the way up until the day you arrive, we're here to help you, provide you with resources, answer any questions, get you ready for your trip. And that's one thing that's nice about, again, with Marine Max, is that you have one dedicated person who's going to help you and walk you through the entire process. All of us that are charter consultants have all chartered before. So we know the ins and outs. We do the trips ourselves, so we can certainly guide you and kind of talk you through, some of those kind of first timer questions that a lot of people have. And there's, always great questions. And we all have tons of, information resources that we can send to anyone who's a first timer. So.
Do you guys have any instructional videos or anything like that online that people can just go check out, perhaps whenever they want?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, if you go to our website, marinemaxvacations.com, and from there, go to our YouTube link. And once you get to our YouTube link, there's tons of resources, not only about, a walkthrough on the boat, how to operate the boat, also about different destinations. So lots and lots of videos on our YouTube channel.
Excellent. Well, we'll have to have those links drop down into the Bahamas, into the comments there from the Bahamas fleet. So maybe the man behind the curtain, or lady behind the curtain, as we like to call it, can drop that comment there for the viewers to check out themselves. So it looks like we have time for maybe one or two more questions here. We have a good one on a text hotline from St. Pete, Florida, saying, how suitable are the charters for babies, toddlers, or perhaps even, if you wanted to bring your grandparents?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it's your own comfort level too, but we have families of all ages that will come and charter with us. For babies, toddlers, real important to bring your own life vests. You want to make sure those guys are fitted, that it's fit specifically to them. We'll have moms and dads that will bring like a pack and play, and certainly the cats are nice and wide, so usually there's space where they can set up pack and play for the babies. So yeah, absolutely, you can certainly charter with all ages on this trip.
Awesome. And looks like there's a link that just got dropped right there down below for Facebook and YouTube. So thank you for that, Lisa.
Yep. Magical.
They're watching. All right. Now we have some other good questions here from Ken Justin Worthing. That's a familiar last name. What is your favorite place to visit in the Bahamas? Anything not to miss? Good question, Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Ken, for that question. So I think obviously Bahamas, so beautiful, gorgeous swimming, snorkeling, so much to see and do, restaurants, food. But you have to go swim with the pigs. They're at No Name Key. I believe it's just right off of Green Turtle Key. But it is one of the most awesome experiences I've ever had. So definitely go swim with the pigs while you're there.
What do you feed them?
Yeah, definitely take food. We had apples, I think some carrots. I think they'll probably eat anything. So hold your hand out nice and flat. But it's just the coolest experience So it's great. Absolutely.
So you guys provide all that too, right? Mask, fins, snorkels, that
Yep.
kind of gear.
Yep, absolutely. So mask, fin, snorkel. A common question too is dinghy and outboard. Absolutely, we provide that. So you'll have that to use to go ashore. Go exploring. Use it to go swim, snorkel off of. So we absolutely provide that as well for you.
All right. So Brian just hit the question Nick and I we're waiting for here. Can you fish? What is the season? Are license required?
Yes, you can fish. I do not believe in the Bahamas a license is required. I'm not 100% sure for the Bahamas. I know a BVI, there is a process, but I think that in the Bahamas you can rent equipment and fish off the boat. It's pretty easy to fish in the Bahamas. I do know that.
Nice.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
we'll be there. You guys have had just one thing after another there in the Bahamas, and we're so glad to have you back between the hurricane there originally and then, COVID, making everything difficult. We're all chomping at the bits here to get back in action, and we're very, very, very happy, Marine Max as a whole, the boating community as a whole, to just have vacations back up and running in your fleet.
Yeah, we're super excited. Go to the website, give us a call, fill out a form, and we will get you guys set up and down to the Bahamas.
And I'm going to kind of run off on a tangent here really quick. That I'm going to put my salesperson's hat on here, selling Aquilas and stuff like that. If you are in the market for buying an Aquila Power Catamaran, there really is no better way than to get your feet wet, no pun intended, than to call up the vacations program, rent one for a whole week, talk about really figuring out if it's the right fit for you. I send customers there all the time because you guys really do a spectacular job both in the BVIs and the Bahamas.
Yeah, send them our way. We have a lot of guys who are interested, and girls interested in purchasing Aquilas, and they'll come and charter, and it's a great way to experience the boat, and super exciting.
You've also got an ownership program, right? Where, say, somebody they love the Bahamas or even the BVIs, and they're going to go there 3 or 4 times a year, right?
Yep.
They can purchase a boat, put it into the fleet, and then Marine Max pays them as it goes on and guarantees them. How does that work?
Yep. So that's our Charter Yacht Ownership Program. We do have someone that is an expert in that, and again, you can go to the website to learn more about that, get connected with that person. But yeah, absolutely. So all 4 boats are all of the Power Cats are available to purchase into the program. And essentially, the entire time it's in the program, it's typically, I think, a 3-year contract. You get up to, I think, 6 to 9 weeks to charter your boat, go over. But during that entire time, we're going to maintain it, take care of it. If anything, were to break, or we're fixing that, we're taking care of all of that. So it's truly a stress-free way to own a boat. And then, when you come out of the program, there's options, and Marine Max is there to help with you at the end of the program, help you buy another boat into the program, help you sell your boat. So we're there kind of every step of the way with the ownership program as well.
Cool.
Well, thanks for joining us, Tammy. This has been an awesome episode, and thank you so much for everybody watching at home. And man, I think we even had somebody tune in from France today, if I'm correct. So I love these episodes where there's a lot of great questions. Of course, not everybody can get to us right now while we're live, but I promise you we'll go back and we will read all of the questions. And it looks like we had Raul drop on here, who is our Charter Yacht Ownership Specialist. So Raul will be able to answer all those questions. Thanks for tuning in, Raul. And thank you for joining us so much, Tammy. You've been a phenomenal guest and just a encyclopedia of Marine Max Vacations knowledge. So we're very, very thrilled to have you on the Boating Tips Live program.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays, everyone.
Have a great holidays, and don't freeze up there.
Thanks.
Great seeing you, Tammy.
Keith,
All right, good to see you.
you wanna sign us off, Keith?
Yeah, so next week, let's talk about that for a second. What do we got going on, Nick?
We got a big episode next week. We have Scott Robertson from MarineMax in Clearwater joining us, and he is going to be talking all things brokerage, boat and yacht brokerage, which a lot of people will, you can buy a boat from MarineMax, and it's very simple. It's very easy. They do a great job, represent great brands. And then there's brokerage, which on the front end, it might look the same thing. I mean, you're buying a boat, but the neat thing about what MarineMax does with brokerage is they'll sell your boat for you. You can have them facilitate the sale, and with MarineMax's exposure and knowledge and platform, the brokerage department is something that, in my opinion, is extremely underrated and a very, very big part of the nationwide operation of MarineMax. And nobody can speak to it better than Scott Robertson. So we're looking forward to having him, and there's a lot for all of us to learn.
So make sure to tune in next week. Scott will be here. Thanks again, Tammy. We'll see you guys out on the water. You can join us. Check out this episode on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and all the other podcast stuff. I don't know. It seems like it's growing each week. So once again, thanks for your time, and we'll